Let this go.
And I'm like, are we ready, guys? Okay, council workshop, July 7th, 2022, immediately following the regular meeting. Here we go. Item number 1, discussion on purchasing policy.
It was indicated to staff that council wanted to review portions of the purchase policy related to appropriate approval levels for expenditures. It was stated that the approval levels for staff may be too high. The policy includes monetary caps or ranges where council, administrator, or staff approval can be given for budgeted purchases. The purchases are also broken into categories as well. For review, the following is from the current policy. City council reviews, adopts, approves, and/or awards capital and contractual services purchases over $35,000. Reviews, adopts, approves, and awards purchases of new and used equipment over $46,000. City administrator approves all purchases between $15,000 and $35,000, presents purchasing recommendations to the council for purchases over $46,000, approves purchases of new and used equipment between $35,000 and $46,000, which have been approved for purchase in that year's city's capital projects, and notifies council of the purchases at the next regularly scheduled meeting. Department heads approve all budgets or all purchases less than $15,000. All right, hang on here, my computer doesn't work real well. So then there's tables, and those tables were sent to you, and on horizontal infrastructure, up to $46,999, it requires a city administrator approval. There are requests for quotes or requests for proposals is the procurement method. $47,000 and greater, the approval is required by the city council and must be done by competitive bid. For vertical infrastructure, up to $54,999, city administrator is the approval procurement method, request for quotes or request for proposals. $55,000 to $134,999. City council approves the bid, and it's by competitive quote. $135,000 and greater, approval required by the city council, and procurement method is competitive bid. I did attempt to gather comparable limits from other cities, but the structure of their policies varied so greatly that apples to apple comparisons is not possible. If council is not comfortable with the current limits or procedures, council should discuss those concerns and adjust the policies accordingly.
I think I might have been one of the ones who had an issue with it at one point. That sounds pretty bad. I may have been. I just think 15 is high, starting at the bottom, then working my way up. But Robert, I'm going to use you as an example. How often do you think you make $15,000 purchases? Like, would it be a headache to come to council for it because it's happening that often, or it doesn't happen so often that it, you might as well come here anyway?
It doesn't happen very often, but say we have a pump go down in a lift station. I need it. Even though I can approve up to 15,000, if it's more than $4,000 or $5,000, I still consult with the city administrator just so that he's aware of what we're doing.
In the case of an emergency like that, how does a purchase like that work? If it's not, a meeting.
So if there happens to be an emergency, and let's say it's greater than 15,000 or something that would normally require council's approval. What I've seen in other policies in other cities is that I would be allowed to make that call in an emergency, but it would need to be immediately reported to the council at the next council meeting as to why it was an emergency and why the bid was what it was or the price was what it was, and then the council would need to approve it. What I'm going to tell you right now is that in practice, right, anytime there's a purchase requiring a contract, okay, we're coming to you because I can't approve a contract. Even though it says I can approve the purchase, it's coming to you as a contract. So like
Is that written down?
What's that?
Is that written in there, that if there's a contract, it comes here?
No,
I know that it's practice, but.
No, what it is the ordinance on my position does not allow me to approve a contract, okay? So the council has to approve that contract. That's in our ordinance. So anytime there's a contract that's coming to you. So for example, the codification tonight, right? I could have approved that, or Pam could have approved that, but because there was a contract, it comes before the council, okay? The only time where I have, where there's been a purchase approved that it was in the budget and was greater than $15,000 was police cars. Police cars come in at $35,000, right? By this policy, the chief lets me know and says, hey, I'm purchasing this car. We then let you know that we're purchasing the car.
And that's because they're in the capital improvement plans.
What's that?
Is that because they're budgeted for and usually in the capital
They're
improvement?
already budgeted. That's because they're already budgeted.
Yeah.
Okay. I can tell you right now that any piece of equipment, pretty much any piece of equipment purchased through Public Works is going to be greater than $15,000, a mower or something else. And a lot of it is over $100,000. I mean, they're just big pieces of equipment. So those are always coming to the council. If you want to adjust the limits, I don't have a problem with it. All I'm saying is don't set the limit so low that everything has to come to the council, because there are some times where, so for example, we just bought, how much was the fuel at the airport?
$31,000 worth of fuel. We run into the same thing when we buy oil for the streets. They're a large purchase. You know, like I said, I'm with Cole. I don't disagree with you guys want to change the limits, but I will tell you that you see what we spend. And so we never try to do anything that leaves a question as to why that was done or who allowed that to be done. So.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hinder any department heads at the time, and I mean, still now, the issues with the budget, so it was like $15,000 even now, and especially then, is a lot of money when you times it by 10 purchases. I know on the register, it says where it's going, but it doesn't always say what it's for. So unless I call and say, hey, why did we spend this much? It's kind of alarming on some of them, like, wait, why did we spend this much at this place? Until you call and ask. So I'm not asking for a gas receipt. I just wondered how many $15,000 purchases there were. But if a contract is involved and it comes here anyway, for me, then I'm
I
I'm fine
really
with that.
don't think that there's that many of those purchases. There really isn't.
If there is, most of the time, it's urgent need, I guess, you could say, if we were spending that. And when we spend the money, we're spending the money out of a budget that we've already set. So, we're trying to keep in the.
Well, that's why I also didn't want it to hinder if there was an emergency, that there was some sort of way that you can fix the problem without
Yeah.
waiting 2 weeks.
Like I said, the procedure would be that if there was an emergency, I could authorize the purchase, but immediately would have to come back to the council and tell you why it was an emergency, how we obtained the price or whatever else, and then it would have to be approved by the city council.
And it looks like here, for those emergency scenarios, for equipment, it'd have to be over 46,000 before it requires council approval. So that scenario you gave would
Right.
be
Now,
pretty extreme.
if you want to lower the amount for equipment, I don't have a problem with that, because there is a lot of equipment that is $20,000, right? A mower is $25,000. So if you want to lower the amount for the equipment, I certainly don't have a problem with that, because those are capital purchases. And even though they're budgeted for, you should know that that we're buying. I don't have and we're going out for quotes anyway. Anytime that, and I'll guarantee you, anytime they come in over the quote, we're having a large discussion of whether or not what we need to do on that. But I have no problem if you say that, hey, any equipment purchase over a certain amount, needs to come to the city council. I have no problem with that. In fact, I will say that on some of these, I do agree with Councilmember Garcia that especially on equipment, being that carte blanche, right? I've always brought equipment purchase. I mean, if it's a computer for $1,000, no, but I mean, if it's a mower or something like that. So like I said, I don't think either one any of us
If
would
you-
have a problem that
could you
on
order
equipment
them?
purchases, they just have to come to the city council.
Now, does everything that we're discussing in this policy, is it required to have been in a line item on the approved budget?
Yes, anything in this is something that's budgeted, okay? Anything outside of the budget has to come to the council.
So would the demolition contracts that we've always just, I mean, we have them budgeted, but we do not bring them to the council unless they're a very large demo. Is that something that we should be bringing to the city council?
Uh, Probably yes. You
Okay.
know, I mean, the thing is in the past, I think that we haven't brought them because it's been budgeted and within the purchasing policy, you know, and, you know, that's probably something we should be bringing forward, yes.
So
Okay.
the contracts, by ordinance, you can't do a contract, but she can if it falls.
For the,
under policy.
for the demolition and for an emergency. But, you know, we can, you know, as we get those demolition contracts, we can put them on the consent agenda.
Okay. That's probably something that the council would probably like to hear about anyway, so.
See, I don't mind the whole approval of that. That's just neat to know. Spread the word that they're coming down.
Well, again, I think that I wouldn't mind if you wanted to change it that all equipment purchases over a certain amount have to come to the city council. I don't have a problem with that. You should know that anyway. When it comes to like the list of the bills, if you have questions, yeah, you know, it might be a pain to call or text or whatever, we can find out. But you also have to remember that when it says, you know, a purchase at this place and there's like a total there, right? That might be more than one purchase.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I mean, it's not a huge deal, because I will call and ask if I have a question, and it's, you know, this, or this. I just meant 15,000 sounds like a lot if it is one, you know, where maybe a month, 3 cars got worked on. So then you're thinking, wait, why is this so much at this place?
Sure. Sure.
That sort of thing.
Well, now, you said a car worked on, so if you want us to.
Oh, no, I didn't know that it was a car worked on at the time. It said like, 1 month it was like Jim Buyer and a very large amount. So I had no idea what that was. I'm thinking it's a single purchase. What did you go get there? So then it happened to be, hey, these all had to have this or whatever.
Okay.
Once you find out, then it's a different scenario. I'm talking single purchases at 15.
So would you like to have this modified to have the equipment purchases lowered and that all contractual services be brought forward? Up to you.
Sure. If the contractual ones are already brought forward, then I don't know why that,
It-
unless it's the demo ones.
Yeah. The only ones that I can think of is the demo ones because they were always been under that.
Those, it would just be nice to know about.
Yeah.
So like, 'cause it's nice to be able to tell people like,
So we'll put those,
Yes,
what we'll do is we'll put those on the consent agenda.
As for the equipment purchases, when we use that example of an emergency and where Cole on this policy is authorized for up to 46 if it's over the 15 for the department head. I don't want us to get in a situation where you do have to do it in an emergency and then notify us later. So I would like that dollar amount to be somewhere that's smart so that we can take care of emergencies and then just fill us in, as opposed to what happens if you take care of the emergency and then we say no.
I agree.
Can we set something in there where if it's over a certain dollar amount that we have to explain it at the next council meeting? It can be, I mean, is that something that's a possibility or not?
Oh, I just mean that it could be approved by you because it's an emergency, and the next one you are just telling us.
We want you to be comfortable with what we're spending, and
Right.
Yeah.
I don't ever want somebody to wonder what we spent
Yeah.
$10,000 on, you know?
I remember reading one time when Kathy asked me a question in the mayor's duties. It says contracts, whenever authorized by the council, he shall sign all contracts on behalf excuse me, on behalf of the city. So perhaps the mayor should be signing all of our contracts instead of Casey and I signing demo contracts. So we'll bring them to the council can approve them, and then Kathy can sign them, if that's,
Okay, so here's one of the things I'm going to suggest for okay, so we'll bring contracts forward, Mayor will sign them. One of the things language I'm going to suggest, paraphrasing here for the emergency, is that whatever limit we want to set, but the administrator approves with mayor's consent.
Yeah, because there you got two.
Yeah.
Working together, yeah.
Okay, and absent of the mayor, whoever the mayor pro tem is. Okay. We hit that limit every year. And in fact, from when I started here till now, we've increased it. I mean, I think it started out at 20,000 and we're now up to, I think we're at 50,000 for mowing and,
yeah.
yeah, I think we're up to
Yeah.
50,000. I will tell you that once in a while, we do get a big check from the county because somebody pays the taxes.
We have been getting quite a few not rebates, but payments back from the county.
Yeah.
Out-of-town individuals have been purchasing those tax liens and paying those.
Yes. But yeah, the mowing is up to $50,000, and I will tell you that the way we do it, because there's been some, I'm just going to digress here just a little bit, but the way we do it is that we hire certain licensed and bonded people to do it. Other people have felt the need to go out and mow a lot and then say, well, the city ought to pay for it. No, thank you very much for going and mowing the lot, but no, so. Sure. All right, so staff will come up with some different numbers here that the council might be more comfortable with, also adding in everything else we talked about tonight to the purchase policy. And I'd like to have another workshop on it so that we make sure we got everything correct.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, item number 2, discussion on the proposal to update the zoning code.
I received one proposal. Honestly, didn't even know I did until I was going back. The reason that Marvin Planning Consultants, I actually had I had spoke with Simmering and Corey. They actually were going to put a proposal in, decided that they did not have the staff to complete it at that time with the funding that we had. He gave me this Marvin Planning Consultants information, so I emailed him. He asked, because it was short time, if he could actually just go ahead and email it to me. So I actually missed it on the email. It's still not within our budget. It's $41,400. And this is a complete zoning update. It's not just a complete zoning. It's not just an update. They'll redo the entire zoning. The reason for that is I went ahead and after I received several responses back, even though no one actually submitted anything, they were asking me if I was sure we wanted to just do an update because a lot of the code was from 1965. So I went ahead and resent some information just to say, let's try an entire code redo. So I did receive this one. Regional Planning said that they could try to work with me on something. They do not have a lot of staff. I'll just leave it at that. So I don't really know if I need to reach back out and try to get some more proposals from people, see if we can do this in a 2-year timeframe and budget the 25,000. I have 12 in the budget at this point.
When was the last time that it was updated?
The zoning code, it's
Mhm.
never been updated since 65.
Okay.
We change information in it when there was a request. So there's actually different dates in the zoning code, but most of it's from 1965.
Okay, thank you.
So you had 12,000 in the budget for zoning, not counting the recodification.
Correct.
And so that's roughly half of what we need. So with doing the recodification, is it a lot to do the rezoning at the same time as well?
Well, it was the 41,000. Yeah, this proposal was strictly zoning. It was not anything to do with the recodification from Marvin Planning Consultants. No one else submitted a proposal.
For your position, going through both those processes at the same time, is that a stress on your workload? Where putting the rezoning off for a year and then being able to budget correctly, does that ensure that it'll be done better and that it won't interfere with the other things that you have on your plate?
Honestly, yeah, I think that would probably be something that we should look at. This is going to take a lot of staff time. There's going to be a lot of meetings, a lot of public input. Although their proposal, they'll do a lot of the work. It's still going to involve me being there for most of that time. Actually, no, it's just to take a comprehensive look at the comprehensive plan, at our wishes and wants for the community, just to see what direction that we really want to take our districts, our zoning, our uses within the community.
And we need to clean up the language. There's conflicting language in different sections, so we need to get that cleaned up. I know communities that do this, like I said, on a every 10-year basis. They redo their zoning code to make sure it's compliant. Did we check with regional planning?
I did. They did not, I asked them to submit a proposal. They did not.
Okay.
I did talk to Zach James. Zach said, we can try to work with you. We don't have a lot of staff. That's not saying they can't do it. We can ask them for a proposal, but if we try to go with Marvin Planning, perhaps he can go ahead and do the phase 1 and 2, a lot of the legwork, and then next year, go ahead and do the phase 3 and 4. If that's something the council, but if you want me to ask regional planning for an actual timeline and scope of work cost, I can do that. That's not a problem.
I would like to have another one to compare it to, if we can.
Sure.
Would like you to be able to tell them about the 2-year thing. Don't overload. I don't feel like you should have to overload yourself to do it. I
Mhm.
think it's fine if we need to spread it out.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine with me. I will get another proposal and I will bring that back to you as soon as I get it.
Everybody happy? Meeting's adjourned.
Well, just think, if we had started the workshop at 5:30 and had to wait till 6:30 to start, we'd still be here, but we'd actually still be here. We'd be out at 8 o'clock. They have improved, yes. Yeah, I do as well, but